Welcome to Tonight with Ethan Moralest.
Kamusta mga madlang people? Nandito naman po ang inyong host, nagbabalik para sa isang magandang episode. Ipakikilala natin ang ating isang maganda, sexy, and gorgeous and lovable girl of all time. She's from Caribbean Island and she's 24 years old. She is Miss Shamika Henry.
Hi, good evening, Ethan, and thank you for that wonderful, heartbreaking introduction.
Thank you, Miss Shamika Henry, because you accept my invitation to guest to my show.
It's my pleasure.
I think it is hard for me to interview with you because you are a high-class person in your country, I think. That's why
I'm flattered.
I'm really nervous right now, you know that. Before we start our question and answer, Miss Shamika Henry, what are you doing right now and kamusta ka?
Well, first off, mabuti. And at the moment, I'm working on several writing projects, and I have very high hopes that they would prove lucrative. So I'm very optimistic at the moment.
Wow, it's good to hear that, Miss Shamika Henry. Are you nervous for our interview version?
I'm a little bit off kilter, but I think I'll manage.
Okay, if you do you think you are nervous, let's start our Q&A. Okay. Tell me about yourself, Miss Shamika Henry.
Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is artistic. I've always been a passionate person when it comes to ingenuity and it comes to expressing myself, my emotions, my opinions, my ideas creatively. So I try to use platforms like YouTube, Wattpad, and other such sources to promote and expose my creativity, my imaginations, and to share my thoughts on common or otherwise controversial content.
Wow, you're amazing girl. How did you become a blind?
I lost my sight at the age of 14. I started losing my vision when I was 12 years old. By the time I was 14, my sight was completely gone. And this is due to glaucoma, which I have in my right eye, and RP in my left eye. It was very unexpected.
It is sad because you are 40 years old, you lost my sight.
Yes, exactly. And I would have been,
Hard to accept that.
yeah, and I would have been dealing with other issues that young adolescent pupil would also be experiencing at that time, such as peer pressure, coming into one's own skin, discovering one's purpose in life, etc. So having to lose my sight on top of everything else, it proved really arduous and turbulent.
Yeah, do you accept your blindness right now, Miss Shamika Henry?
I think at this point in my life, it's been 10 years since I've lost my sight completely. I think I have come to a place of acceptance for the most part, but sometimes, in all honesty, I do still grieve the loss of my vision. I don't think you ever quite get over losing your sight, but you learn to deal with it. You learn to live with the loss.
Okay, it is good to hear that, Miss Shamika Henry, because I think there's a lot of people who don't accept their disability. That's why I think you are a good role model to us. And then, did you experience hardship growing up, and how did you cope up with that experiences and how?
I think a better question would be who has never experienced hardship, at some point in their life, one way or another. So I think in the context of this interview, losing my sight would have probably been the most challenging hurdle I've ever had to overcome. And it's really not easy being born with my sight and then one day it's suddenly gone. It really wasn't easy, but you know what? I've always been a spiritual person. My mom, she grew me up in church and she taught me how to be a virtuous woman. And so when I lost my sight and my world collapsed in around me, I turned to God for guidance and hope and inspiration. And He has never failed me. He has always been there for me. He has opened many doors for me. One of the things that I had to deal with, though, prior to losing my sight, that still in a sense haunts me to this day, is bullying. Before I lost my sight, I had 75% vision in one eye, 85% in the other eye, so I wore glasses, and my friends at school would always pick on me and call me names like four-eyed or cross-eyed, and it really hurt my feelings. I don't think kids really know how cruel they can be. So that's something that I still think about to this day, in addition to losing my sight.
And there's a lot of people who try to discriminate us because of what our disability right now.
Yeah.
Me, I am totally blind. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who discriminate me. He called me bulag in our country, and they call me no eyes, like that. And yeah, I accept all the discriminate, because if you didn't accept that, you will not moving forward to your future life.
Very
Right,
true.
Shamika?
Very true. I definitely agree.
And yes, yeah, I agree for that. And then who motivates you and inspires you?
Well, I would have to say my favorite role model, and she's quite a controversial figure herself because she, is obviously under public scrutiny given her high profile as a celebrity and a singer. That would be Demi Lovato. And in addition to her powerhouse vocals and her amazing musical talents, I admire her and I aspire to be like her, because she has also had to deal with a number of challenges in her life due to the rocky childhood that she had, being in a dysfunctional family. And in addition to that, she has also had to deal with her own personal demons, such as battling drug addiction and dealing with her bipolar depression personality disorder. And she also has a bulimic disorder as well, a food disorder. So Demi Lovato has had more than a plate full of problems, but she was able to overcome them all and excel. And so I look to myself and I say, you know what? I don't have as many issues as Demi Lovato does, but I still can make it. I still can overcome my obstacles. This problem, being blind, it doesn't have to be a problem. I could turn this problem around and make it a solution, make it lucrative. And that is what I aim to do with my blindness.
Wow. Wow, Miss Shamika Henry, because Demi Lovato, she's my favorite singer, if you know that. No? We are
Really?
favorite artists.
Wow.
Yeah, because when I was 12 or 10, do you know Camp Rock, right?
Yes, of course. Camp Rock. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then did you know Demi Lovato? She is pretty. She is glamorous girl.
She
And
is.
I idolized her. Yeah, because she is a good personality in life. Yeah, that's why we are the same favorite artist, Miss Shamika.
Wow, maganda.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you speak in Tagalog, Miss Mika. Okay. Is there any life experiences that you changed your perspective in life and how?
Well, again, I would have to say losing my sight because I feel that although my physical vision has evaporated, it was replaced with something that's more meaningful and more useful to me, and that is the gift of insight. I have learned to view the world in a different way, and I wouldn't say that's a disadvantage. I would say that it has been a blessing to not always take things at superficial value.
Wow, it is good to hear that, Miss Shamika Henry, that you have your faith to God, because I think there's a lot of people didn't have a faith in God, because if there's a lot of problem, and I told them that, hey, please, you must have faith in God, because God will know all that challenges that I given to you guys. And then they said to me that, oh, this is not Ethan, because God, who is God? And then if God is true, why he didn't to us? And then I told them that, oh, guys, God have a reason to give it to us. Me, I am a totally blind. Yeah,
Right.
and I experienced all the challenges. That's why I relate all of your questions to my information, and I really appreciate it.
Definitely, you know,
And then,
before we move on, I just want to add to that I always say to people who find themselves being skeptical about the existence of a higher power, so to speak, you know, you have to believe in something at the end of the day. If you don't take a stand for something, you'll fall for anything, you know. And it's better to have life with hope than to have no hope at all, because I don't think living in a hopeless world is any kind of way to live. And I can't speak for the vast majority of people. I can speak only for myself and what I have experienced, and I know that God has opened many doors in my personal life, and that is why I choose to follow him and to believe in him and to be a woman of faith.
yes, yes, it is true, Miss Shamika. And then, wow, you are an amazing people, Miss Shamika. Promise, I love it. And then, what is your greatest achievement in your life?
Well, I would have to say, and this also was quite an unexpected opportunity that I had, was working for the previous head of state of my country, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, serving at the pleasure of President Anthony Thomas Aquinas Carmona, was the greatest honor that I think could ever have been bestowed to me, not just because of his position being the head of state and commander in chief, but because of his personality, because of the embodiment of values, the integrity with which he holds himself. He is a very compassionate, caring, loving person, and unlike any politician I have ever known, he's not just all talk and glamorous words. He actually cares about the youth, and he demonstrated his genuine compassion when he gave me a job to work for his office, me, someone who barely had any measure of experience in the field of politics, someone who, by societal standards, is disabled. He enabled my disability by giving me that job, that working space, an opportunity to grow and to expand and broaden my horizons and to make connections. I am ever grateful to him for that opportunity, and that certainly has been one of the highlights of my life.
Wow, Michelle. The president of your country.
Yes,
You will work?
yes, I was his transcriptionist.
Oh my.
So my job was simply to transcribe all the credential ceremonies he had with foreign ambassadors, high commissioners, other heads of state, and so on into electronic format.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Someday if I want to go to your country, I want to meet your president.
Oh, certainly.
Oh,
I'm
you're
sure he would change your life if you met him.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're amazing people. I give you three claps. Three claps because you are amazing. You are amazing woman. That's it. And wow, I think I love you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're amazing and you are a one of a kind girl. You know that, Miss Shamika.
You are too kind,
That's why,
Ethan.
yeah. Thank you, Miss Shamika. Yes. What is the disadvantages being a visually impaired person compared to a sighted person?
Well, I think one of the disadvantages for me personally, being blind, is that things move a bit more slowly. When I was sighted, I wanted something done. I just got up, got out of the house, and I was about my business. But being blind, you can have a certain level of independence, but you're still limited. And there are many things that you would still need sighted assistance for. So it has been somewhat of a stumbling block to me. And also, I honestly, if I'm to be completely honest, I am not really that great at mobility. Even when I had my sight, I wouldn't travel unless it was the actual only option. If I had the option of having one of my parents take me or my older brother drive me, I would take it. But I never really liked taking public transport. So, being blind, I now had to learn to adjust and to, take those routes that would probably be a little bit, inconvenient. So inconvenience is definitely a disadvantage that I now face being blind.
Wow. Yeah. And then, what is the advantages with being visually impaired compared to a sighted person?
I think I look at it as the overall, disabled community. Being disabled in any way, shape, or form, I think it really teaches us or motivates us rather, to be more determined, more driven, more than ever, to prove ourselves, our worth, to prove that we have more than just something to offer and to contribute to society, to our organizations, our committees, our communities, because we are not so much disabled as we are differently able, and we learn to rely on other senses that a sighted person would otherwise take for granted, to rely on our intuition and perception to accomplish monumental and menial tasks in our everyday life. So me having a foot in the sighted world before and now having one in the blind slash visually impaired and overall disabled world, I have learned to never easily be dissuaded from achieving my goal and proving myself. I work twice as hard now to accomplish my objectives, and I am not easily dissuaded from my goal.
Yes, it is true, Miss Shamika Henry, because me, I'm not totally blind before. I'm not blind before. Yeah, I have a lot of opportunity, and suddenly I'm lost myself. That's why, yeah, I will pursue my dreams to become a chef, I think, yeah. And then I want to go to the any part of our work because I want to showcase what's the beautiful word. What is the beautiful
Yes.
word? Who is the beautiful? Yeah.
Because you can still see,
And I am really
you can still see the beauty that's in the world. You don't have to have your sight to be able to see the beauty in the world, because I've also learned being blind that there is beauty to be found in more ways than just being able to see physical beauty.
kaya nga, that's why Miss Shamika, I will talk to Tagalog if because this is the quotes. Hindi hadlang ang iyong kapansanan para tuparin mo ang iyong mga pangarap. Like that, and I will show to my all televiewers that go, fight.
Yes.
Am I right, Miss Shamika?
Yes, of course. Just keep
Yeah.
pushing forward. Once you keep pushing forward, you can only be making progress. And once there's progress, there is a high chance of your success.
Yeah. And then, if you're given a chance to become a sighted for a day, what is your first thing to do and why?
Well, I think one of the first things I'll do, and I'm sorry if this seems shallow, but I would immediately dash towards the mirror so I can see my reflection and see how I have changed over the years, because it's been 10 years since I've seen what I look like. I want to see,
Yeah.
the kind of woman I've grown into. And then second to that, I would obviously want to immediately go to my loved ones and see how they've changed, how my younger siblings have blossomed, and to also see what my mom looks like now. Definitely, that would be one of the first things I'd do.
Wow. I think if you are given a chance to become a sighted, you look at the mirror. Oh, wow. I'm so good. Yeah, because I think you are pretty and sexy and fearless woman.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. Yeah. And then who is Miss Shamika Henry 10 years from now?
Well, I would hope that Shamika Henry 10 years from now would be a successfully published author, and that I would have written several book series. I would have published all the poems I've written over the years, and that my writings, my literature would have impacted positively and tremendously in the lives of the posterity and the current generations. And I would hope that my works would also motivate and inspire people to look to God, to trust Him completely, and to give Him all the honor and glory.
Oh, wow. Miss Mika Henry, someday, if I were given a chance to wrote a lot of poem, books, and I want to collaborate with you if you like.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
you are my idol. Yeah, because you are my idol, Miss Mika, and yeah, because you are a good personality and you have a positive outlook in your life. That's why. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God, Miss Shamika. And then, what is your message to your family, Miss Shamika?
Well, I would just like to express my most profound gratitude and love to my family and loved ones, and to those who have always supported my endeavors and have always believed in my dreams and what I aspire to do as a writer, a poet, and an artist. And I would just like to really endorse every person that has been in my life, even people who would have been detractors, or they would have had negative feelings. They also have actually helped me to be the strong and courageous person I am now, and they have also helped to cement my resolve to prove myself and to reach my goals. So I just want to send lots of love to all my loved ones and family and detractors. Lots of love.
Wow, love, 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 Miss Shamika. That's why I give you my heart. So, yeah. And then my last question is, Miss Shamika, what is your message to all PWDs like you?
It's really simple. My message, guys, is to persevere. And that doesn't mean if you tried something once, twice, 3 times, 7 times, and it doesn't work out, you just throw in the towel. No, when you persevere, it means that you keep going forward, keep pushing forward, because at one point or another, you are bound to reach the finish line. You are bound to realize your dreams. Even if people might laugh at you and they might think what you're doing is incredulous, they think that it's impossible. My friend, God's word says that with man it is indeed impossible, but with God all things are possible. Not some things, not a few things, all things. So just have faith and keep on pursuing your dreams, and you will persevere. And don't be discouraged by your disability, by the difference you might feel to others. No, use that as your driving force to make it in life and strive to thrive.
Wow, thank you, Miss Shamika. Thank you. Miss Shamika Henry, thank you for accepting for my invitation. Please invite all of my viewers to your social media site, and please invite your YouTube channel if you have.
Okay. So the honor was mine, Ethan. Really, it has been a pleasure to be interviewed by you, and I am grateful to have the opportunity as well. And to all our viewers, if you would like to check out more of my content, such as my poetry and covers that I have done of eclectic musical pieces, feel free to visit my YouTube channel at Shamika Prod Entertainment. That's www.youtube.com/c/Shamika Prod Entertainment. Thank you.